Oh wow. If anyone who's watched my stuff knows, I have two different versions, I guess, because I don't know. I think I actually messed up, and so that's why I ultimately re-uploaded it, and I uploaded it a certain way so that the second time around to make sure that I didn't miss a single minute or accidentally skipped anything when I had to, cut up this like 41, 42 long video. So I figured out how to do that if I have an extra long video. Unfortunately, if you're watching it as a series, you'll have to backtrack in a little bit. Or at least my video actually backtracks. But finally, I had three long fucking videos that were eating away at my phone storage. And I just got through watching, not completely, I didn't watch all of them all the way through. I kind of just watched the beginning, watched it for a few minutes of each video, I then scrolled all the way to the end and watched and listened to that because I didn't even watch. I just listened to it really for the last minute or two, so that I knew, and I knew for a fact that I didn't miss anything. So yay! I finally got one of my three, over 30-minute videos done with and deleted off my phone. So yay for me! I have more storage. Now that that bit of news is out of the way, so while watching that, it got my gears turning actually in a good direction. If you've seen the previous last few videos that I've uploaded, I've been very depressed. And today, it's actually been outside of still being fairly depressed, it's actually been a very okay day. I've sat home, haven't really done much, though it's in a debate that that's actually a good thing to help me heal. Not necessarily be around people, but actually be isolated so I can just deal with my emotions and process things. To anyone who doesn't know, I'm actually pagan, and I was actually raised in the Mormon church. I'll actually get into that on another day entirely. Yeah, I was raised in it, but there's a reason why I left, as I'm sure a lot of people can easily figure it out, to those who don't care for the Mormon religion. But that's only relevant because ultimately Mormons have what is known as General Conference, and we don't go to church on General Conference Day. I think we technically can, but basically, if you know anything about the Mormon religion, we have this giant meeting with all of our church leaders, and it gets broadcast on YouTube. I think it gets broadcast on the LDS website. It gets broadcast on. I think they even have a TV channel dedicated to like Christian and Mormon stuff called BYU or something like that. I don't know if it's strictly Mormon, but still, I know it's broadcast on there. And they'll show it at church, which is why it's optional to kind of go. And they have stuff the previous day as well. But I needed to just sit here and deal with things and not be around people. I didn't even want to go to church. So if I'm not Mormon or Christian, why do I still go to church? Because ultimately, like I said, there's a reason why. We'll get into the entire story of me being raised Mormon and becoming pagan, and why I'm now going back to church right now. And it's more or less, I didn't get very educated in the religion that grew up in. My mother didn't teach it or bring the lessons home, so Sunday was about all we did. Going to church, and that was it. So I wanted to actually be educated in the religion. So I'm going to church, and I'm trying to do spiritual studies and religion studies and whatnot by just going back and everything. Doesn't mean I'm not still pagan. Doesn't mean I don't still pray to my gods and do my own prayers and rituals and ways to give my own praise to my people. But again, the only relevance this really has to my day as a whole is I don't have a car currently, and I really need to go outside. It's a beautiful day outside. I don't know if you can see that. It's so beautiful. And see if you can see through the vine, through the whatever it's called. But yeah, it is so nice outside. It's not very. That's not a very often thing here in Cincinnati. area. But so the people who give me a ride, since I don't have a car, they basically just stopped by and they gave me these muffins. And honestly, it was something I needed. I think, the higher ups, as I call them, the higher beings, the deities that watch over all of us, whether it be God or the Christian God or, God of creation, whatever you want to call him, the Almighty, Father in heaven, whatever, or any of the gods of old, the pagan gods, the Greeks, the Egyptians, I don't know if Native America's spiritual beliefs would count as necessarily pagan. But the Mayan and Aztec and, Navajo and everything, there's probably numerous deities and spirits in general that watch over us, and whoever watches over me, they knew that I needed some uplifting today. That way I wasn't just sitting in my chair or just pulling that number for literally the minute I wake up to the minute I go to bed and barely eating. Yeah, it's not a very fun transition process for me dealing with breakups. And like I was telling my buddy Andrew, who listens to one genre of music that he shares with me, in a sense, which is what I call juggalo rap, or juggalo music, basically. I think it's technically called horrorcore, but whatever, run with the hatchet and shit like that, whoop whoop. I listen to a lot of things. I listen to metal, I listen to country, I listen to pop, listen to Backstreet Boys, I listen to death metal, Demon Borgir, ICP, foreign music, stuff that's not even in English. I listen to all sorts of stuff, so don't judge. By the way, if you judge, you're pretty much a prick. I haven't smiled in like 3 days, honestly. So between talking to my friend Spencer, which we actually gotten pretty heated at each other towards the end, but I think we were honestly just both tired and had too much on our plate and just ended up launching at each other. But yeah, today's actually been fairly okay. So I finished that video, and it made me realize how, let's see, we moved in late November, so more or less December 1st, we'll say since December I've lived here. December, January, February, March, April, since yesterday was April 1st, we'll say that I've been here for about 5 months, give or take. Rather that's 4, rather that's 5 is honestly more irrelevant. But it really just goes to show how much stress I was under and how this really is going to be a good thing for me. Raina says that us splitting up, us going our separate ways, is actually going to be more of a good thing. It's going to help us. And we're actually we still talk. We still care about each other. Like I've said many times, whether it's on YouTube or not, she has my heart, and I don't know how much that's really going to change even if I meet someone else. I truly do believe that she's my soulmate. At least at this given moment, I do. And I'm not trying to doubt it. I guess that's just more me still being emotional and dealing with things. But yeah, so watching all that multi-part video, I realized how, yes, I have a lot in my head that needs to be vented out. I have a lot of thoughts that have to get out there. But yeah, I realized how different of a person I was. And I don't know if it's having a job or if it's having a job and, see, now you in your box again. She has this box that we had when we were moving. We left it for her because she likes boxes, and of course she does. She's a cat. Hey, Callie. Meow. Meow. She fatty. She actually lost a crap ton of weight. I didn't realize that multi-part series was the last thing that I had uploaded. And even though it was actually out of date by the time I had uploaded it, ultimately I didn't realize how vicious I was as a being, as a person, or a creature or whatever. I mean, Callie can be on bad behavior at times and get on my nerves. And during Christmas and even in January, we did keep our tree up. And for whatever reason, she wanted to try and eat the tree. Now, watching and hearing and knowing everything and remembering whatnot, the thought crossed my mind, our cat was not exactly healthy, and her health may be a little bit right now. But see, what it is that we were feeding her typical just dry food, or what I basically call animal pellets. Because realistically, outside of the shape, what the fuck is the difference between cat food, dog food? I mean, when you look at the ingredients, outside of maybe it's flavored differently, there's no difference. Which explains why some cats or some dogs will just eat the opposite food type. It's because there's really not a difference. And what a lot of people don't realize is that natural food that is grown from the earth, it's not just for us humans. We consume it, yeah, because we can harvest it. But, before industrial ages and before, Victorian era and before anything, where man truly dominated this planet, all animals and all creatures alike ate whatever was around them, rather it was other animals and creatures or rather it was the plant life. So despite what a lot of people realize and think, all animals, whether it be domestic or wild, can eat plants. I was feeding Callie for probably about a month, practically just straight mixed veggies. We cut her off of the dry food because that might have been what was keeping her fat. Plus, she has a bad tooth. It's actually cracked. If I were to show you pictures of what she looked like when we first got her as a stray, versus what she looked like before, which I might have showed you, versus what she looks like now, she's not that fat. She just has a lot of loose skin, I guess, because she lost weight so fast, and she's a little bit more active now, but she still lays around and just stares out a window. And the problem with her is we can't take her outside. She'll run off, or there's always, a flea problem. There's the fact that I am very much an animal lover, and if she's gone, I get really sad and depressed and start to stress and worry about her safety. So, I'd rather just honestly keep her inside. To those of you wondering, like, well, why don't you take her for a walk? They make leashes and collars and harnesses for cats. I'll have to show you what it's like to get this cat in a harness. There has to be some way to press it against her so that she can't worm out of it, because we've bought her 2 harnesses. We've bought her collars. We have leashes for her. She will just go and just sit there. She will fight it. She does not like being walked. Honestly, I think the only thing that's going to get her more active is if I get another cat for her to play with or another animal. But yeah, and it took me a while to realize too, honestly, I realized this past week that her farts are worse than mine. Her body, she was growling, not verbally, but her body, her stomach or something. So now I have her, and to anyone who has a cat or anyone who wants to help me be more organic and natural in terms of feeding myself and feeding my animal companions, as I prefer to call them, or children, one of the two, depends on how I feel about them. But I'm now feeding her this. Okay? I know it's probably backwards because of how mirrors and cameras ultimately work. See if that helps. I don't know. But yeah, I'm feeding her this brand, if you can read it. So it's IAMS Perfect Delights. I don't know how to pronounce that word, that brand, but yeah, that's what I'm feeding her. And I don't know how long I should feed her only this. I haven't put any veggies in her food bowl whatsoever, and it's pretty much, oh shit, I need to cut it off now. Part 2, people.